All right, so we're back, and today we're going to be diving into the Liberty Career Academy's 2024 annual report. Folks, the LCA, they're really doing amazing things, empowering people and helping them, build careers and businesses. But going through this report, what really kind of jumped out at me was just how much they actually accomplished just in 2024 alone. I mean, we're talking 675 people across 18 countries. It's not just some local organization anymore. They're really having an impact globally.
Yeah, it really is pretty impressive, especially when you consider their ecosystem approach. They focus on five key pillars: discover and learning, mentorship, work placements, scholarships, and research and policy. It's not like they just offer one solution and that's it. They're really trying to build a whole support system.
Yeah, that's what makes them so different, right? They're really taking that long view, understanding that people need different kinds of support at different points in their lives. It's not just about, getting a job. It's about giving you the tools and the help you need to really succeed throughout your whole career, or even if you decide to start your own business.
Exactly. And you can really see that long-term thinking and how much they've grown, too. They've now got 72 volunteers and staff across 3 continents. That's up 24% from just last year. Clearly, something's working, both for the folks they're helping and the people who are so passionate about supporting their work.
Okay, so let's zoom in on one of their flagship programs here, the Liberty Mentorship Hub. I'll be honest, when I first heard about it, I thought, okay, mentorship, yeah, that's great, but can a 5-month program really make that much of a difference? But then I saw the numbers. 74% of the mentees in Cohort 7 achieved more than half of the career goals they set for themselves.
Yeah, those are some pretty impressive results. I think what's even more interesting, though, than just the numbers themselves is how they actually do it. The program's not just, throwing people together. It's about having a structure and keeping people accountable. Mentees, they set clear goals and they work proactively with their mentors who are there to guide them, offer support, and, sometimes give them a little reality check along the way.
And it's that personal touch that seems to really be the key, right? The report actually shares this story about Emeka, who was a mentee in the program. He's actually pretty skeptical about it at first. He even talks about getting a really tough rejection letter and feeling discouraged. But his mentor helped him see that setback as a chance to learn.
It's a good reminder that mentorship isn't always about, celebrating wins. It's about working through those challenges and building that resilience. And Emeka's not the only one. Another mentee, Glorious, talks about how the program really gave him a sense of clarity and confidence about his career. It's almost like they're not just learning career skills, they're developing life skills at the same time.
That's so true. And wouldn't it be great to start learning those skills even earlier, Think back to when you were a teenager. Imagine having someone there to guide you on things like setting goals, communicating effectively, or even just understanding your own strengths. That's where the LTA's Career and Stewardship Bootcamp comes in. This program's aimed at young people, 13 to 20 years old, and they cram a whole bunch of practical life skills into just 2 days.
You might wonder if you can really have a lasting impact in just 2 days, especially with teenagers. But the feedback they get is incredibly positive. 89% of the participants said they'd recommend it, and 81% rated their experience as very good or excellent. They're definitely doing something right there.
I think it's more than just the material itself, though. It's about the timing. They're catching these young people at a really crucial point where they're just starting to think about their future, but they might not have the tools or the support they need to make those big decisions. There's actually a quote in here from a participant named Favor Ifua, who said it was the best decision of her life.
It's interesting that they're not just focused on career skills, though. They're also teaching about stewardship. The LCA defines this as managing and developing all aspects of your life, your talents, your resources, your relationships. They're really encouraging these young people to think about their future in a holistic way, not just about what job they're going to have.
That's a really powerful concept. It makes you wonder, could this kind of program be a key to solving the youth unemployment problem? Not just teaching skills, but also instilling this sense of ownership and responsibility for their own growth.
It's definitely part of the solution, that's for sure. It shows how committed the LCA is to going beyond those surface-level solutions. They're focusing on the mindset, not just the skill set.
Absolutely. And speaking of tackling challenges head on, let's talk about their scholarship summit. Getting the money for education is a huge hurdle for so many people, especially in Africa. So the LCA created this summit that brings together experts, educational consultants, and this is the important part, people who've actually won scholarships themselves.
That's a really smart move. It's one thing to hear from the experts, but it's completely different to hear from people who've actually done it, who've achieved what you're trying to do.
And the impact is undeniable. They highlight this guy, Samson Falarin, in the report. He was a participant in the past, and he ended up getting a Chevening scholarship. He says he used what he learned at the summit to help him get it. They've also got quotes from other participants, people like Janvir Nyonshuti and Sesianko. They talk about how the summit opened their eyes to possibilities they hadn't even thought of before.
It's not just about giving information, it's about expanding your horizons and helping people believe in themselves. And the summit's really gone global, too. In 2024, they had people from Africa, North America, and Asia.
Now, the summit's great for people who are ready for higher education, but what about those who are still figuring out their career path? Remember, we were talking about catching them young. Well, in 2024, the LCA brought back their basic career discovery program, and they're reaching high school and university students with career-based training.
Yeah, this program had been on hold for a bit, but there was obviously a demand for it. They reached 373 students in 2024, which brought the total to 1,173 since it started. The report also mentions how positive the feedback was from school principals and staff. They see this early intervention as being really important for getting students on the right track.
It makes you think, what if we'd had this kind of guidance when we were younger, right? How many mistakes could we have avoided? How much faster could we have reached our goals?
It's an interesting question to think about, for sure. It shows you how important it is to invest in career exploration early on. But what happens when it's not just about guidance, but also about not having enough money? Well, that's where their newest program comes in, the LCA Scholarship Program.
Right, this was just a pilot program in 2024, and they gave a scholarship to Opeyemi Ogulai, a mentee in their mentorship program, to study microbiology. And this is where it gets really interesting.
Oh yeah, this is the part I was waiting for. When they opened up applications for the next group, they got a whopping 4,469 applications from 2,711 different people. That's over 6 applications for every single scholarship.
Wow, that just goes to show how much people need and want financial help to get an education. It also shows how effective the LCA's ecosystem approach is. Opeyemi was already a mentee, so they knew how driven she was, her potential, and how committed she was. They were able to give her a scholarship that wasn't just a handout, it was a targeted investment in someone they knew would succeed.
And her story's really touching. They include a quote from her in the report where she expresses how grateful she is and how the scholarship has let her focus on her studies without having to constantly worry about money.
It really is proof of how these programs can change people's lives. They're not just changing careers, they're changing lives.
You know, when you look at all these programs together, it's clear that the LCA is really onto something special. What do you think it is about their approach that makes them so successful? What are they doing differently than other organizations in this field?
You know, I think their secret weapon is that they're not just like filling a gap, they're building a whole community. You can really see it in the financial part of the report, too. They had a 58% increase in revenue in 2024, which ended up being over 6 million Nigerian naira, and a big chunk of that, 49.6%, came from individual donations, which shows how much people believe in their work and are willing to support it financially.
Yeah, and you can tell the LCA is being really responsible with that money, too. 76% of what they spend goes directly to running their programs, which means they really care about impact over just covering their own costs. Plus, they ended the year with extra money, which means they can keep doing this great work for a long time.
It's really that combination of being financially stable and committed to high-quality programs that sets them apart. Having a good idea isn't enough. You need the resources and the structure to actually make it happen.
Exactly.
And they're doing that with this really cool mix of paid staff and passionate volunteers. Remember that 24% increase in people we talked about? Well, a lot of that came from volunteers, people getting their time and skills to make a difference.
Yeah, the report actually highlights one of them, Funmilayo Emmanuel. She coaches at the CAS boot camp. She talks about how rewarding it is to work with the teenagers, taking them through sessions on identity, purpose, self-esteem, even things like technology and business skills.
I love how they're exposing them to such a wide range of topics. It's not just about getting a job, it's about giving them the tools to handle all the challenges of being an adult.
Oh yeah, and Funmilayo specifically mentioned how impressed she was with how much the teenagers wanted to learn and how creative they were. She even told a story about one of them who came up with this awesome business idea during a session.
That's what I find so inspiring about the LCA's approach. They're helping to create a whole generation of problem solvers, innovators, and leaders. And they're doing it with these amazing, dedicated volunteers like Funmilayo, who are clearly going above and beyond.
She put it perfectly when she said, LCA Bootcamp isn't just an event, it's a catalyst for positive growth. It's about planting seeds that will keep growing long after the program's over.
Now, you mentioned earlier that the Scholarship Summit is attracting more and more people from other countries. What do you think that says about the global need for this kind of support?
I think it shows that the struggles young people face in getting an education and navigating the scholarship process aren't just happening in Nigeria. The report has quotes from participants from Rwanda and Kenya, and they talk about how the summit gave them direction, inspired them, and helped them connect with other people from around the world who are on the same journey.
It's really cool how a program that started in Lagos is now resonating with people on different continents. It shows how universal these challenges really are.
And it's not just about empowering individuals, it's about creating a ripple effect, you know? Remember Emeka, the mentee who got all those connections and recommendations? He's already using what he learned to help others. He's become a mentor himself.
It's like they're setting off a chain reaction of positive impact. The more people they empower, the more those individuals go on to empower others.
Exactly. And that's where their long-term vision really shines. They're not just offering a temporary solution, they're building a movement.
Okay, so let's shift gears a bit and talk about some of the practical things that are going up. The report outlines some exciting plans for 2025. First up, we've got the Scholarship Summit on February 22nd, followed by the Scholarship Award event on the 23rd.
Don't forget to mark your calendars, everyone. The summit is a fantastic chance to learn about funding opportunities and meet experts. And the award event is a chance to celebrate the incredible accomplishments of these scholarship winners.
Then we've got two groups for the Liberty Mentorship Hub. Applications for Cohort 8 open on January 24th, and the program kicks off on March 1st. And for Cohort 9, applications open on September 21st, with the program starting on October 9th.
That's awesome news for anyone who's looking for personalized guidance and support in their career. Oh, and let's not forget about the CS Bootcamp that's scheduled for August 13th and 14th.
And last but not least, applications for the 2025-26 LCA Scholarship Program open up on October 17th. They're not wasting any time building on the success of their pilot program.
It's clear they've got big plans for the future and they're not slowing down, but I'm curious what really stood out to you from all their upcoming events.
To be honest, I'm really excited about the two cohorts for the Liberty Mentorship Hub. It shows they're not just, sitting back and being happy with what they've done. They're really trying to expand and help even more people. I am curious, though. You've talked about their ecosystem approach a couple times. Can you maybe explain that a bit more for our listener? Like, what does that actually look like in action?
Sure, it's really about understanding that people need different types of support as they move through their journey. Those 5 pillars we talked about earlier, the discovery and learning, mentorship, work placements, scholarships, and research and policy, they all work together to make this whole support system.
So, for example, someone might start with something like the CAS Bootcamp, right, where they figure out their strengths and start thinking about different career options. And then maybe they join the Mentorship Hub to get more specific guidance and build their network.
Exactly. And as they keep moving forward, they can access resources for work placements. That gives them real-world experience, which makes them much more competitive when they're looking for jobs. And of course, the scholarship program and summit help to overcome those financial hurdles that so many people face when they're trying to get a higher education.
It's almost like they're building a bridge between what people dream of doing and the opportunities that are out there. And they're giving them the tools and resources they need to cross that bridge one step at a time.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And that research and policy pillar is super important too. It lets them stay ahead of the game to really understand what the workforce needs and to push for policies that support young people and entrepreneurs.
So it's not just about helping individuals, it's about changing the whole system. They're creating an environment where everyone can thrive.
Exactly.
When I first learned about the LCA, I thought they were mainly focused on career development. But the more we've been talking about their different programs, the more I realized they're addressing something much bigger. It's almost like they're nurturing this sense of agency, this belief that you actually have the power to create your own future.
I think that's a really insightful observation. It's not just about learning skills or gaining knowledge. It's about your mindset. They're instilling this sense of self-belief, resilience, and this willingness to see challenges as opportunities for growth.
And that's something that goes way beyond any specific career, right? It's about becoming a lifelong learner, a problem solver, a leader in whatever you choose to do.
Exactly. And that's such a powerful message to send, especially for young people who might be facing tough times or feeling unsure about their future.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the LCA's 2024 annual report, I want to leave our listeners with this thought. What if we all approached our lives with that same sense of purpose and possibility? What if we all saw ourselves as agents of change, as people who can have a positive impact on the world around us?
The LCA's story shows us that even small things can make a big difference, whether it's volunteering, mentoring someone, or even just offering words of encouragement. We all have the ability to make a difference.
So if you want to learn more about their programs and how to get involved, we encourage you to visit their website. It's lcaglobal.org. And until next time, Keep learning, keep growing, and keep empowering yourselves and others.